Welcome back to the Popped Podcast, where we uncover real, raw, and rarely discussed truths about pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and beyond. I'm your host, Dr. Emily Muery, prenatal and postpartum chiropractor, birth doula, and founder of Move Moms at Move Chiropractic Boulder. Today, I want to dive into a completely different aspect inside of things that we've been talking about. We talk a lot about science and the why behind small things that happen during pregnancy, birth, with babies, postpartum, all the fun things. But I really want to dive into the visualization of labor and birth. I think it's talked about a lot, but not super well dissected. That's the best way I could put it. I really want to dive into how to mentally prepare through visualization for labor and birth. I think it is a huge part and can play a huge part into the experience of labor and birth. So as we go through this, if you have thoughts of like, well, what if things change, but you never know what's going to happen. I realize that. I'm going to talk about it towards the end. Just follow me. Let's just take a little journey through visualizing what a really successful labor and birth looks like for you or for you and your spouse, for your family. So let's dive into it. What is a visual birth plan and how is it any different than checklists or birth plan preferences that you make with your doula or your birth provider or with your spouse? Most people think that a birth plan is printed out a list of preferences: no epidural, delayed cord clamping, dim lighting. And while all of that is very valid and important and truly essential, please do it. Please do it. It is super important. The visual birth plan does go a lot deeper than this bullet list. And it's not about controlling every detail. It's really about capturing the feeling of how you want to give birth. This feeling, when we practice feelings, think about the last time you practiced a feeling. It doesn't come up often, but when you imagine something happening in your life, like getting a promotion or getting engaged or maybe finding out that you're pregnant, if you imagine that experience, a lot of times you can evoke that motion in your core, in your mind. That is what we're trying to do here. You may have never experienced birth or labor. May have never been to a birth prior to your own. That's okay. This is your chance to truly find some sort of mental preparation before the big day happens. It truly can help. A visual birth plan can look like a million different things, but just a few to start going through. You could create a mood board on Canva or Pinterest. You could have a poster with cutouts. You could have a journal with all of the images, affirmations, maybe landscapes of what you want to visualize during birth, whether that's the mountains or maybe your home, maybe it's your dog or your family. Whatever it is, maybe find some really meaningful pictures to put not only what you want, but meaningful pictures that already mean something to you in this collage. You can have a small set of printed affirmations, but you can also make your own on a long sheet of paper. You could write them down, cut them up, put them around your house. These visual birth plans don't have to look any specific way. So if you have thoughts, and I haven't just said one, I want you to follow that thought and see what that could lead you into. We really want to find something that is tangible, something that we can look at and remind ourselves of constantly, something that we can recall the thoughts and the feelings that we wanted to evoke and we wanted to prepare for when we see this visual birth plan. So think of something that is tangible that you can see, touch, hold, or look at, see multiple times throughout your day or throughout your week. Another thing you could do is a playlist of songs, whether that's the playlist of songs you want to listen to during your birth. When you know what it's like if you've ever ran or I don't know, done anything where you listen to an album and you know what song's going to come next, or you create your own playlist of songs, and after a while of listening to that playlist of songs, you know what comes next. When you have something in your head that is familiar that you can recall very quickly during extremely tough times such as labor and birth, think about how much safety that is going to bring your body. That familiarity is actually going to allow your body to relax and release more oxytocin. So the more that we can find familiarity, safety, encouragement, and support through this visual birth plan, something that can be repetitive in our brain, in our eyes, in our body, around our home, the better. This is not a plan for your provider. This is a plan for your nervous system. This is a plan for your mental preparation. This is not meant to be exactly what other people are going to follow. This is truly to make your nervous system feel prepared for what's to come during labor and birth. Feelings that you want to feel, affirmations that you want to come back to, maybe even some reminders of cool tools or tips that you've learned from podcasts or your chiropractor or your massage therapist or your cranial sacral therapist that you've learned throughout pregnancy. They've given you these small tools and you don't want to forget them for birth. Add it to your visual birth plan. Put it up there so that it is repetitive. When we add these things to something that we see every single day, even if it seems small or minor, like adding honey to the birth bag, put it on your visual birth plan so that you can see, oh yeah, when it starts to get tough and I'm feeling like I'm out of energy and I'm tired, I'm going to have that honey stick that we packed right inside of our backpack. There is power when you see your vision. When you see it, your body starts to believe it. It starts to incorporate it. It starts to make it happen. This isn't just woohoo manifestation. This is true biology and biological science within our physiology, that when we attract or when we vibrate at certain frequencies, when we are attracting certain things because we want them, they literally come to us. So the more that we can pull in these high vibrations or these really calm atmospheres or whatever it is that you are trying to call into your birth, the more that you call it in, manifest it, actually see it, and make thoughts, active thoughts on it every single day. Like, I can't wait for that to happen. I can't wait for that to happen. That is how we actually pull ourselves closer to the things that we want to experience during labor and birth. Now, how does our brain and our physiology actually adapt to these visual plans and all this manifesting that I'm talking about? When you think about it, your body changes. How does that actually happen? So when you visualize an action like breathing through a contraction or holding your baby for the first time, your brain fires the same neural pathways as if you were actually doing it. This is called mental rehearsal or neural plasticity. It helps your brain and your body feel more prepared, safe, and familiar with the experience even before it happens. How cool. This is well documented in neuroscience and is used in everything from Olympic training to stroke survivors. This works. This works for the human body. This is how we adapt. This is how we prepare our bodies for something we haven't experienced before. And then we also have psychoneuroimmunology. This is the study of your thoughts and emotions and how they impact your nervous system, your immune system, and your physical health. Chronic stress, negative self-talk, and fear can downregulate your immune system and your hormonal balance. Calm, connected thoughts can help regulate your nervous system, reduce inflammation, and support healing, all of which we need. This is where things like birth affirmations, visualization, and meditative breathing all have a very measurable effect on the body. It's always worth taking the time to change a bad thought to a more positive thought. Even if you find yourself having to do it over and over and over throughout the day. Like, I am so scared I'm gonna have to push a baby out. Let's change that thought. I cannot wait to experience having my baby come through the birth canal. I cannot wait to experience labor and birth. I can't wait for my body to do what it was designed to do. When we change some of these negative worries or small fears that just slowly ruminate in our subconscious and our conscious brain throughout pregnancy, they follow us into labor and delivery. So if we can start to take these thoughts captive and shift them to something more positive, more encouraging, more supportive, it truly is going to remind your brain and your body I can do this. Instead of, when we get to labor and birth, having those small fears come, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to push the baby out right now and it hurts so bad. I was right. This hurts so bad. Your body's going to start to tighten up, close up, and it's going to start to revert backwards in the progress that you've made thus far. So it's worth it. Take those thoughts captive. Start changing them now. Visualization, like I said earlier, is not just woo-woo boulder crunchy moms. It is a tool used by elite athletes, trauma therapists, trauma survivors, and birthing people. So, my birthing mamas, this is for you. When you mentally rehearse something, your brain lights up as if it's actually happening. Your body gets a preview of what to expect, and that creates confidence and even the unknown. And vice versa. If you are expecting the most incredible, terrible pain and your body ripping in half and unbearable experience, you are telling your body and giving your body a preview of what to expect. So what happens when you go into labor and birth and all of these things start happening? Your body is scared that it's about to be ripped in half and the worst imaginable pain you've ever had. We have to start visualizing a successful birth. Take all those worries that you're worried about. What if none of them happen? That is what I want you to start visualizing. What if everything went right? What if everything went to plan? What if everything worked out exactly how it was supposed to in the end? Because realistically, most of the time, it does. Not to say that there aren't times and unfortunate stories where that is not the case, but if we can at least prepare ourselves for goodness and greatness in labor and birth, we don't have to spend all of pregnancy or multiple times during pregnancy worrying twice. If you're worrying during pregnancy and then you have to worry when it's actually happening because it did actually happen, you've worried twice. If you're worrying that it's going to happen and then it never actually happens, it was a waste of worry and stress on your nervous system and on your baby's nervous system. So I am a dancer. I think I've said that before. I grew up dancing competition dance where we would compete at several different competitions and conventions every single year during the fall or during the spring and summer. In order to compete these 10, 12, 15 dances that we would have each year, we would have to rehearse these dances every single week, every single weekend for months and months and months prior to competition season. I have no idea how many times we rehearse these dances, but you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And then we would rehearse not facing the mirror so that you could practice facing an audience when you wouldn't be able to see yourself. And then we would practice with the lights off with a spotlight on because that's what it would be like on stage. And then we would practice with other students cheering us on because that's what it would be like. There's so many different ways that we would rehearse and change our rehearsals so that we could be prepared for everything and anything at dance competitions. And yet, we would show up at dance competitions, and every so often, pretty much every competition, somebody's like, I can't believe I forgot XYZ. I can't believe I messed up XYZ part after we rehearsed so many times. So this isn't to say that this rehearsal is going to give you a picture-perfect birth experience. There's always going to be changes. You always have to be open and adaptable to those changes. So all of those times that we would have dancers that would forget a part or mess up a part, they, in the moment, would have to adapt and make sure that the dance continued to still go on because the dance was still going on, the music was still playing. They had to adapt. This is your dance. This is your stage. Birth and labor is your stage. There is going to be constant adaptations and changes and possibly changes to people in the room and smells in the room and times of the day. You're going to see maybe the sun go up and the sun go down. Maybe the moon comes out. There's so many changes that can happen during birth that you can't prepare for. But there are so many constants that you can prepare for. You can prepare for contractions. You can prepare for feeling baby descend. Who knows what it will actually feel like in the moment, But if you start mentally preparing different ways and moving your body and actually picturing things happening in your body is going to get that preview and feel more prepared every single time you do that for when the event arises. So taking this mental rehearsal for labor and birth, visualization can mean a lot of things. It can mean imagining the rhythm of contractions, the breath moving throughout them, the moans or the groans that you make when certain parts of your body start to tighten up, whatever it is. Use these different things, whatever you imagine birth could be like. And please use your best imagination. It doesn't have to be baby mama. Please don't let that be what you're imagining birth to be. That may lead you to a rather traumatic birth. So if you can start thinking about other ways, if you don't know what other births look like, start looking them up. There's so many useful resources, even just on Instagram. I see births all the time. Free Birth Society is exactly what it sounds like. They are free births out in the wild. Look at how these women move and groan and moan and use their bodies to get baby out. They can give you a lot of good ideas of how you might want to use your body or change your body around to get baby to descend, move, wiggle out, whatever it is, wherever you want to push. There's so many different things that you can gather from just other people's birth experiences. You just have to look for them. Visualization can also mean seeing your baby rotating and descending with each surge or with each contraction. If you don't know what that might look like, go back and listen to a baby's role in labor. I actually show how baby rotates and comes through the birth canal. You can also visualize the support team around you, whether that's your partner, your doula, your midwife, your sister, your mom. Maybe it's some of those people aren't in the room, whatever it is. Imagine that support team, your partner's hand, your doula's squeezes, maybe her hip shimmies. You can also imagine touching and meeting your baby. Sometimes they ask you during labor and birth, do you want to touch your baby's head? I hear most of the time women say no, and then the few women that do it, it usually gives them the last bit of motivation to get those last couple pushes to get baby out. Think of this as practicing your birth in the theater of your mind. And like any rehearsal, the point is not perfection. Like I said earlier, you're not always going to get it perfect, and that's okay. The point of rehearsal is to practice, to become more familiar, to become safer and more comfortable with the things around you, and that might happen with labor and birth. Birth requires the body to be open and surrender. Visualization helps your mind get on board with that surrender before the first contraction ever gets there. You can't predict the path of your birth, but you can build a relationship with your power ahead of time. Your power is everything during labor and birth. The more that power is built, the stronger that power will be when you walk into the labor and delivery room. When you know what you want, when you know what you feel, when you have rehearsed this time and time again in your head, different ways, different versions, different feelings, and you start to pull out those constants of what you want to experience during birth, you become way more in control of your birth experience, not only because you know what you want and you can say what you want, but you're also going to start attracting those things to you through the literal frequency in your body. When you know what you want, you start to attract it from the world. When you know what you want and you repeat and say in your head and your mind gets to remember what you want frequently from these visual plans, these things come to your labor and birth. They actually are attracted into the birth space. We are going to get into how to let it go and just let it happen. The practice of non-attachment, because as much as we visualize and start to build these plans and these ideas of what birth is going to look like, there is the true realm of birth is so unexpected and you don't know what's going to happen. We can plan, and still birth is going to unfold however it unfolds. So this is where it starts to get slightly tender, because it's one thing to visualize your dream birth and it's another to let go of it when that moment arrives. I'm going to say that again. It's one thing to have your dream birth in the front of your mind. It's another thing to let it go in the moment when it arises. Non-attachment does not mean apathy or lack of vision. It means releasing your grip on how it unfolds so that you can stay open to your power in whatever form that it takes. This practice is hard, especially for pregnant women who have done the work, read the books, gone to the classes, created the vision board, made the empowered choices. You have imagined it, you have prepared for it. So, how do you prepare without clinging? Try this reframe. This vision is a sacred guide, not a script. This vision is a sacred guide, not a script. When you allow your plan to breathe, when you hold it gently instead of tightly, you create space for something bigger, for your intuition to lead, for your support team to respond in real time, for your baby to do their part, for your birth to be an initiation and not a checklist. It's not about lowering expectations. It's about loosening the fear that if it doesn't go right, you somehow failed. You are not your birth outcome. You are the vessel. You are the strength. You are the story. And that story might look very different than what you expected. Yet, it will still be powerful, transformative, and it will be yours. When you let go of an outcome, you make space for an experience. Let go of the outcomes. We don't know what's going to happen. We really don't. But when we let go of what the outcome is, what the actual experience, what actually unfolds, when we let go of that expectation that has to happen, when we're more open to allowing that to happen or whatever to happen with our guided focus of our preferences, plans, and visions, it can allow us to accept the experience for what it is and truly be in that experience. As soon as something changes, sometimes I see moms really lose themselves in the labor because it's automatically not what they were expecting, and so they're taken out of their plan. To be able to have some of these big changes and still stay on mission and through your vision, it really does help you allow the experience to be received and processed. What we're really talking about is letting go of the expectation of the experience. How long it takes, what the sensations arise are, who's in the room, what position you're in, not the essence of your vision or the outcome that you desire. This practice not only helps build emotional resilience when things do shift in labor and delivery, but it also helps reduce guilt of what ifs after birth. It helps protect your nervous system from shock or spirals. It also makes space for your body and your baby to guide the process during labor and birth. So really removing this expectation for a specific experience or how long it takes, what it sounds like in the room, who's in the room, what position you're in, allows the experience to be received into your body and well processed fairly early on into postpartum. You can plan for a home birth and still have a very powerful transfer to the hospital. You can plan for a home birth and still have an extremely powerful transfer to the hospital and bring your baby earthside a completely other way than you expected. There are so many ways that these shifts and transitions in labor and birth take us to this beautiful birth experience. We just have to be open and surrender to it. Okay, you guys, I'm super excited about this new sponsor because it's somebody I've actually been working with for a while now called The Final Punctuation. It's a female-owned, one-woman editing and proofreading service. Her name is Carrie, and she has completely changed how confident I feel putting my words into the world. She's helped me with everything from my brochures to my doula contracts to small marketing things. And not only is her turnaround time incredible, but she helps you to understand the why behind her edits. She sees things that I would have never caught and somehow keeps your voice intact while making everything stronger, cleaner, and clearer. She works with all kinds of creators from bloggers, podcasters, to small business owners, marketing folks, and even students. Anyone putting their words out into the world. And if you've ever posted something and noticed a typo after, you know how it feels. One tiny error can totally kill that first impression. In fact, stats show that only one typo can increase bounce rates by up to 85%, and grammar mistakes turn away nearly 60% of readers. And I know what you're thinking about AI. Can it just take care of all my grammar and mechanics? AI still struggles with tone, nuance, and accuracy, which is not a great combo if you're trying to earn trust. So if you're writing anything from podcasts to brochures, website copy, marketing materials, let Carrie take a look at it. Visit thefinalpunctuation.com to submit a request for any project and tell her that you're a Popped Podcast listener for 15% off your first order. That's thefinalpunctuation.com. Now let's get back to the episode. So many pregnant women build their birth plans in a place of wanting control, and it makes sense. We want to have control. That's what I preach every single week. You have control. You were designed to do this. This is your body, your baby. You can do it. You were designed to do this. However, you're about to step into one of the most unpredictable, vulnerable, and powerful experiences of your life. And the truth is, birth is not about control. It's about connection. Connection to your body, connection to your baby, connection to your breath, connection to your instincts, and connection to the present moment. Control says, I need to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Where connection says, I trust myself to respond to whatever comes up. This shift is what makes a visual or intuitive birth plan so powerful. You're not trying to control every second or every minute of birth. You're tuning in, you're aligning, you are allowing, you are surrendering, you are willing, you are open. This allows your nervous system to help your body birth a baby. This allows your system to process the pain and the sensations that come from labor and birth so that your brain can naturally release pain-relieving signals to your body so that it can go through another contraction, another push, another descent of baby into your pelvis and through the birth canal. You might feel a really strong connection to a song that makes you feel strong, a mantra that grounds you in labor, a scent that calms your nervous system, a mental image or a physical image of your baby rotating or your family. Maybe it's a mental image of your baby descending and rotating through the birth canal. Maybe it's a physical image of your fur babies at home or your family that's waiting to hear your call after baby has arrived. These anchors are tools not to force your birth into a mold, but to stay present within it, especially when there's lots of shifts and changes and big feelings and sensations that your body's experiencing. Having something to fall back onto where you can connect, find familiarity, safety, all those things, that's what we're looking for your body. And because when the waves of labor contractions get big, it's usually not the checklist that saves you. It's the connection in the immediate moment. Who is touching mom? Who is supporting mom? What song is playing? How do the lights look? What is the connection that's happening in the moment? Let your plan be built on connection, not control. That's a foundation that holds when everything starts to shift. Some simple ways to start visualizing a birth plan today. You don't need to be an artist. You don't need to be a Pinterest mom. You don't need to be a DIY craft girly in order to create what I've been talking about this whole episode. This is about genuine feelings, genuine needs, genuine wants. It's about emotion, not about aesthetics. It's about what feels right, not what looks perfect. So here's some simple, effective, creative ways for you to start building your vision. Create a vision board. Something I said you don't have to do, but this one is one of the easiest ones, usually the most relatable for people. You can use Pinterest, you can use Canva, you can also use scissors and a glue stick. I personally love a physical, tangible vision board in my hand, something that I can cut, paste, make it however I want. That's me. If you are somebody who likes to do this digitally, make it and print it out, send it to FedEx, get a great printout, frame it if you want, or just put it up in your closet, in your bathroom, in your work area, somewhere where you are going to see it frequently. Choose images that evoke feelings of strength, softness, trust, and surrender. Include nature, texture, lights, even colors that you want to see in your birth room or birth space which doesn't always happen, but it's something that you can close your eyes and start to visualize that color or that image. Start to build yourself a birth playlist. My recommendation is to make lots of playlists. I think I said this in the Labor Tools podcast many episodes ago, but a birth playlist, many birth playlists are always awesome and a great go-to. Maybe you have one for strength. Maybe you have one for lighten up the energy. Maybe you have one for focus. Maybe you have one for active pushing. Whatever these playlists, whatever you think is going to resonate and be a good playlist to play at different parts of your birth, make it. And the more that you make it, listen to it and start going through it, especially if you have one that is going to help you refocus and recenter to your birth vision. Listen to that playlist over and over and over. And if you make no playlist, make that playlist. Make one playlist of songs that could help you get through birth. Even if you're not sure if they're actually going to be able to help you get through birth in the moment, I want you to imagine these songs playing while you're pushing your baby out, and if that's the song that you want to be listening to. That's how we start finding things that are actually conducive to our birth plan. We want to find things that lead us towards that successful birth experience, not things that would throw us out. If Hey Ya by Outkast is on your I think this would be great to birth to, maybe really visualize you pushing a baby out with Hey Ya playing in the background. Is that what you want? If it is, awesome. Add it to the list. Listen to it every day. If that's not exactly something that you want, pull it off and start doing that with all the songs that you have on your playlist to make sure that that doesn't happen with any song in the moment where you're like, what song is playing? I'm trying to push a baby out, right? We want these lists to be ideal for the moment. You can write a letter to your laboring self. I think this is really cool. I think it's really cool to write letters to yourself, your baby, your partner. It helps you just create this space of thankfulness and openness to what's about to happen and maybe encouragement. These small letters really allow you to imagine something that is already there that maybe hasn't happened. Thanking your husband through or your wife through what could be your only birth experience. Maybe it's your 5th birth experience and you've never done this before and you want to give her a new little dose of energy and excitement and plans. Like write a letter, because these small things, these are helping you build a birth plan. These are helping you visualize what it's going to be like, what feelings you're going to have after baby comes, while baby's coming. Writing a letter to your birthing self and giving her the grace to experience what she needs to experience, that is you positively talking in this awesome feedback loop in your own mind, attracting that to your body, increasing your frequency, attracting more of that to your body for your labor and birth. These letters are truly great ways to get these thoughts out onto paper so that you can continue thinking those thoughts over and over and over going into labor and birth. Record a voice memo. You can close your eyes, walk yourself through your ideal labor, describe how it starts, what support looks like, how you want to breathe, how you want to feel, what you want to look like when baby arrives. Maybe that matters to you. Maybe that doesn't matter to you. All these small things, if you could talk to yourself and tell yourself from a happy state, hey, I'm here with you. There's not just this version of you going through the hardest experience of your life, birth. There is also this other version of you who's so excited that you are going through this. They are so excited you finally made it to the day that you are going to meet your baby, and it's you. How cool is that? You telling yourself you've got this, that is such a huge familiarity, safety, feedback loop for your body to keep producing the right hormones, to keep helping your body get this baby earthside. I also have anchor to your senses. We talked about this a couple episodes ago with all the senses overwhelm during pregnancy. So this one I realize can be a little bit difficult trying to pick out really ideal things for all of your senses, whether that be lighting, music, whatever you're listening to, food, what you're eating, what clothes you have on for touch, movement in your body, all these different things. Anchor to your senses. Try to find something familiar and safe, whatever feels safe in the moment and where you're at in this pregnancy. We all know every pregnancy is different, so you might have different things that help your senses feel calm and safe. So figure out what those things are for this pregnancy. Choose a grounding scent. Visualize what your hands will be holding on to. Maybe it's the comb that I've talked about. Maybe it's your partner's hand. Maybe it's the bed rails on a hospital bed. Maybe it's the side of a tub. Maybe it's the ground. Think about where those hands are going to be. You can think about what the lighting is going to look like, or again, what the music is going to be on. You can build that playlist now. Use these sensory cues to help make your vision tangible. These are things that you can put via word or picture on your visual birth plan. These help actually see what you want to see in the space, and so that you can recall it in the space when you see dim lighting for 40 straight weeks. Okay, let's say 36 straight. Okay, however long you've been making this visual birth plan. You've been seeing it for however many straight weeks. When you get into your hospital room and there's all these bright lights, you can immediately ask for dim lights because you have seen it so frequently. You can ask for dim lights. Also, side note, while I'm going through this, having this visual birth plan, whatever it is that you end up creating, visible for your birth partner and even just for your birth team once or twice prior to labor and birth, allows them to also get a really good sense of what you're visualizing. Your birth partner, your spouse, really, really helps them to know what you're wanting, what you want to see. That repetitiveness for them, they are not experiencing being pregnant, so they're not constantly being reminded, oh my gosh, there's a baby inside me. Oh my gosh, there's a baby that has to come out of me. So they're not always being reminded of what the labor and birth experience could or will look like. So having this visual board or place or tangible thing for them to be reminded of the things that you are wanting to experience during your birth also helps them to advocate for those things for you. The last one I have is using affirmations or mantras, and you can keep them really simple. I like to use a dry erase board or a dry erase marker on my mirror in my bathroom so that I can see my mantras every single day while I'm getting ready. Some options we have: I am safe. My baby is safe. We are doing this together. I soften, I open, I allow. Every wave brings me closer to my baby. There's so many of these birth affirmations. Look up a list on anywhere, Google. You will find a ton of lists. Pinterest, even Pinterest has a ton of birth affirmation lists. Find the ones that you really like, write them down, start using them, cut them up, paste them around, write them on your bathroom mirror, places that your birth partner can see them so that they can remember these affirmations and tell them back to you during labor and birth. Before we end, I want us to all take a moment to try to visualize a birth, try to visualize your birth. So as long as you're not driving, find some space, take a moment, whether you're walking, hopefully not, at home, find some space to sit down and close your eyes. You don't need to do anything else but listen. Inhale through your nose and exhale gently. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw. Now imagine yourself in labor. The room is exactly how you want it to feel. Safe, supported, soft. You're not watching yourself. You are inside of yourself. Breathing, moving, moaning, trusting. Your body is doing what it is made to do. Your baby is part of this dance. You are working together. You may not know every step, but your body, your breath, and your intuition know the rhythm. You feel strong. You feel calm. You feel connected. And now you say to yourself, I am open to the birth my body and my baby needs. I trust the path, even when it curves. I release control and root into connection. I am ready to meet my baby in power and in peace. Let that settle. Let that be your practice. It's not perfection, but it is presence. go ahead and open your eyes. If this episode has helped you in any way, please listen to it again. Different recommendation this week. Please listen to it again. This is a podcast that goes into exactly what I just talked about this whole podcast. Listening to stuff like this, something that empowers you, something that supports you, something that reminds you to find your center for labor and birth. When you listen to stuff like this over and over and over, and you really memorize some of those sound bites and it sticks in your brain, it's so achievable and grabbable for your labor and birth. So if this episode was helpful in any way, please listen to it again and then share it with another mama to be, a doula, your midwife, your birth partner. Please send this to your birth partner. Maybe they have a visual birth plan that they also want to collaborate with you so that they can support you and support their own needs and wants as well. Please share this. If you have been enjoying the Popped podcast, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review, whatever feels good to you. I've really enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys have a phenomenal week. I'm Dr. Emily, and you've been listening to the Popped podcast.